Welcome to Monstieur, a show where we discuss and redesign the most horrific icons of entertainment. On this episode, it's time to take on that dirt-dwelling, dust-mouthed demon from Tremors, Reba McEntire. No? Oh, I mean, the Graboids. The monster from the movie. Enjoy.
Ooh.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
Hey.
Hello, party chat. Here we are. All right, guys. Everybody, introduce yourselves, please.
Hi, I'm Alex. I'm a freelance concept artist, illustrator, comic book artist, and my headquarters are in Romania, the Vampire
Oh, we need a last name, Alex.
Popa.
Popa. So you guys want to check it out? He's look below, and there's in the text below the thingamajigger. All right, let's.
Hello, I'm Kanji. I'm from the UK, and I'm a storyboard artist with delusions of competence.
Oh my God. Jesus Christ.
Wow. Well, jeez. I'm Elias Ravenetti. I'm from Italy, but I'm in LA, and I'm a concept artist and creature designer.
Hi, my name is Amir Alam, concept artist illustrator based out of Las Vegas, Nevada. And I don't like how you talked about Reba McEntire in that intro. I'm going to give you a glare the whole time. I'm not smiling. You're laughing. I'm not.
All right.
You done?
Will, you're up, brother.
Oh, okay. I'm William B. Hand, and I'm in Rochester, New York, and I'm freelance, I guess. Concept creature stuff.
All right.
Mostly, yes.
Mostly. I dig it.
Yeah.
All right. I'm J.R. Coffrin. I'm the host. I'm also a concept artist and illustrator, and that specializes in all this monster crap that you guys are probably aware of. So, welcome to the show. Today we are discussing the Graboids from Tremors. So, yay! Which is the most easiest thing to design ever, right?
Always.
To redesign.
Yeah.
I mean, it's already perfect. You just keep going with it.
It's just so easy. Every time it's just the fucking easiest thing you could ever imagine doing. So I'm assuming everybody watched the movie. Of course, that's the prompt. That's part of the show. Or if you didn't, you just have it memorized because you've seen it 1,000 times.
Hey, it's me.
Did you guys have a pretty? Was it pretty uneventful as far as being hard, or was it difficult? Like, how'd it go? How'd the thing go?
Wasn't that difficult. It was kind of, just like I always do, think outside the box and go wild. So yeah, I had fun.
Yeah, same. I think it was a little. It was one of the easier ones for me, to be honest. I didn't have too much of a hard time for this one. It was a little easier. But I mean, it's not really about that. It's about Reba McEntire, though, right?
That's great. Perfect woman.
That's right.
Perfect waifu.
I'm really wishing I'd done a design now that was just Reba McEntire's face on a graphic.
Oh God,
I've gone full God Emperor of June with this.
I think that would have been the angle.
That should have been my Beetlejuice.
So, did everybody rewatch the movie recently, or did you guys just memorize it from
Yeah, I watched it earlier today.
Okay. Did it hold up? Was it what you wanted?
It was about exactly what I remembered it being. Yeah, it was it was still enjoyable. I liked it.
Yeah, I
Great.
was having this conversation with Amir because we watched it together, and it's a really, really solid B movie. Like,
Yep.
I think this is a film that you could probably look at in a film school as an example of how to write a really tight, simple, to the point, perfectly structured screenplay.
Perfection, Nevada.
It's in the name of the term.
Which is
Mhm.
actually an actual place. That place exists.
I didn't know that.
It does
Does it
exist.
really have like 14 people in it?
I do not know that like the population, but Perfection, Nevada does exist. It is a
That's
place.
awesome.
hmm
Damn.
Which I'm not sure if that's the only place that they filmed the movie, but
Mm.
but I think they might have had like different desert parts to film it because
Probably.
like I was telling you pre-show, like I was stranded in an area where they filmed part of it, and there was literally nothing there, like under Mount
Mm.
Whitney off the 395, nothing. But
Yeah. How did you? You said stranded?
yeah, like when I was a young lad, uh, I think I was like 17. Like I bought a VW Bug, and I had to drive it back home, 400 miles, and
Oh wow.
Ooh,
you
Where are
know,
you heading back from? Was that San Francisco or what?
a place called Topaz. It's in Northern
Okay.
California. Okay, well, it's just a very small town as well. There's like 300 people there, so you don't drive VW Bugs that are you don't drive them 400 miles. You just don't. Like you're gonna end up stranded. Like they're just horrible vehicles. Anyway, I drove. We drove the whole way, and the whole way, or not the whole way. While we were driving, we had like just constant issues, carburetor issues, breaking down, blah blah blah. We finally broke down for good, 200 miles in, underneath the under like at the foot of Mount Whitney, in the middle of the desert, and there's nobody around. Somebody from up the hill that's living off the fucking grid, comes down on their quad, and like checks in on us, and we're like, "Whoa, where'd you come from?" And they came back, with a with a with a hitch, and towed us back to their house, like up in the hills, and uh, let us stay the night. And in the morning, they had like some like tweakers come over and try to fix our bug, and they fed us, and like it was rad. And then they sent us on our merry way. Broke down again. I hitchhiked, like I stuck out my thumb to hitchhike back. Some dude that was driving on the opposite side of the highway, like busts a U and comes back and picks me up, and his car's on empty. I'm like, dude, are you gonna make it? Like we're in the middle of nowhere. He's like, we'll be all right. Drives me back like a couple miles to the place, and that the lady that housed us for the night ends up picking us up in uh, uh, like her horse trailer. She brings her horse trailer. The bug fits with about like a half an inch on each side of the vehicle, and we get in the horse trailer, and she drives us 200 miles south.
Oh wow.
Like,
Wow.
and while we were there, of course,
Cross
they, they
country.
they were pretty proud of the fact that they filmed Tremors there. So it was a pretty cool experience, once in a lifetime for sure.
Good Samaritans all over.
Yeah, for sure,
Run
man.
into the wrong guy in that situation, you're done.
Yeah, that could have been like it could have been rapey if it was the wrong person.
There's that vibe, yeah.
Yeah, but
In your case,
absolutely everybody I came across was just amazing. They were amazing. Like
mhm,
it was amazing. The tweakers were cool too. Even the tweakers were cool. You don't get that.
yeah.
So, Amir, if I ever come out to Las Vegas, we're taking a road trip to the actual Perfection, Nevada, right?
Hell yeah. Stop by at Courtside, Arizona while you're here.
Yeah.
All boonies trip.
Oh, hey, what's up, Mikola? Mikola, right? Or Mikolaj? Am I doing it?
Nikolai.
Oh, Mikolai.
Mikolai. Sorry, my Russian name's not great.
Hey. Miko's cool.
So everybody else watched the movie. Will, you liked it. Everybody else have fond memories. Was it the same? Did it hold up?
Yep.
Yeah, you're still loving
I,
it.
I saw it when I was a kid, and upon rewatching it, I was so the memories came back about all the some action scenes and when the characters were running from the tremor and it was sucking the fence behind them. You know that scene,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
the pole fence. And I remember when I was a kid, I was so horrified about that scene. I said, "Oh my God, they're gonna catch him and suck him into the dirt." And it was kind of thrilling, filled with a few one-liners and some gimmicks here and there. But it doesn't matter because, like you said before, it's one of the best B movies. And what I liked about it, and I still hate the thing about today's Hollywood, is that they don't, they keep using the weird color grading on the movies, and except that, this one was full colors and everything was vibrant and you could see all the details. But I watched the last Tremors. It's from 2 years ago.
Oh, A Cold Day in Hell.
No. Um, let me check it.
Amir,
Do
you
you-
love it, bro. I see you smiling the whole time he's talking about it. You're all, yes,
Oh yeah,
Tremors.
yeah. No, it's more like fuck you, James. Just the whole time I'm like,
Yeah,
fuck.
yeah, yeah,
Oh
man.
yeah, Cold Day in Hell, yeah.
I'm a cynic. I don't know, dude. I don't know.
And I couldn't watch it because I have this OCD with color gradings. I hate color gradings, and I wanna see a movie in full colors, and yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cold Day in
Interesting.
Hell. They did this weird color grading thing where they filmed it in what looked like sand dunes or something.
And in fact, there were up north in Canada.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it was way weird, and I didn't
Yeah, yeah, definitely weird. The color.
have past the movie. I just couldn't watch it anymore. But there was an idea in that movie that inspired me to do the work for today.
Hmm.
Oh, okay, cool.
Well, color grading's in every fucking movie.
Uh,
Nowadays, yeah, it all started with the Matrix.
It's in every movie. Like
Yeah.
well,
every single movie is color grading.
interestingly enough, they only color graded The Matrix for the DVD release. I was lucky enough to catch the recent re-release of it, the remaster, where they removed the color grading. And I know everybody thinks like the whole green color palette is iconic for The Matrix, but I way prefer that film with just the regular colors. It looks so much nicer.
Interesting.
Oh, okay.
Huh.
Yeah, if you get the 4K Blu-ray, it's got the new restored color grading, which makes it look like the original colors from the film print. It's really
Oh,
nice
yeah.
looking.
Yeah.
Damn, I gotta get that.
Hmm.
Oof.
Interesting.
But yeah, I think Tremors didn't look color graded much. Did you notice any color?
Well,
No.
they didn't have they had to do it practically back then. They didn't have the technology to just run it through a computer and shift all the colors, and now they do, so everybody does it.
Yeah, you can blame the Coen brothers for digital color grading. I think they were the first people to do it on Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?
Oh, brother, where art
Or-
thou? Yep.
Because they wanted the whole film to have that kind of sepia tinge to it, so they pioneered this digital color grading technique, and Hollywood's been abusing it ever since to make everything teal and orange.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like, you would think that color grading's older than that movie, but it ain't.
No,
No.
not digital at least. Like in the olden days, it's all done using practical processes on the film itself.
Yeah, yeah, they used to paint on the film.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
they had to.
kill-
Yeah, they had to process it differently. Actually, like the film had to be reprocessed. I think.
Hmm. That's cool. That's cool.
I like color grading personally. I think it helps the mood. Like I don't know. I'm sure it's done like here and there. It's done badly. But like for instance, I wasn't a fan of the movie, but how it was filmed and like the cinematography was beautiful. Was what was that movie with the dude from Titanic? What's his name?
Leonardo.
Leonardo.
DiCaprio.
And,
In The
and
Revenant?
Revenant.
Oh yeah,
That's extremely color graded.
Usually, yeah, it's a
Was
masterpiece.
it? I thought it was just natural light.
Visual masterpiece, but
I think the problem with the digital color grading is when it's used as a substitute for having good lighting on set, which you see a lot of, unfortunately.
oh,
Wait,
Like
what
if
was it?
you if you
Was
find footage from some films where like it's before they've been graded, it's like it's disgusting how badly they're filmed, and they try to fix it all in post.
Mm,
And that's how they mostly do everything now in cinema. They fix it in post.
mm.
interesting.
But I thought the Revenant was all natural light, natural film,
Fuck
all of
no,
that. That was-
dude. They can't. There's no way that they got the same tone throughout the whole damn movie unless they just like filmed at the exact same time of day, like every day. Like that's not gonna
I think
happen.
they actually did do that. Apparently,
They did
they
what?
they tried to film as many scenes as possible at the same time of day, and they would actually wait days in between shots for the right lighting conditions.
Oh, interesting. Okay, well,
Yeah.
got some perfectionists at work, but still, that fucking movie was color graded. Definitely color
No,
graded.
definitely. I mean, they all are now, but whether it's like it can be done well or it can be done badly is the thing.
What's that, Elias?
No, they have to do like
Yeah,
because
yeah.
yeah,
It's
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 a
like
whole job. Yeah.
yeah. Totally. But so back on Tremors. So so that movie was not color graded. It didn't appear color graded. Just
no, it wasn't.
they just filmed it. Everybody in the room was a fan. You guys are all fans of the movie. I think I was the only one that kind of wasn't. Never really grabbed me. No pun intended.
Uh, I'll join you on that one.
Like I saw it when I was younger, and I was like, I kind of forgot about it. I'm like, that's not it. It's not enough for me. For me personally, I think they should have it. It like they're in a small town with like they could have had more grounded real characters, like people that were like actually seemed like they're from a small town. They seem a little bit too comic booky, uh but I think they should have leaned one way or the other. Either lean like super like be super cheesy and comic booky, like over the top, like a Quentin Tarantino character, or try to be more real. And they're kind of like in between. And for me, that wasn't hitting the mark. It didn't allow me to get to care about any of the characters. I was just kind of like this the whole time.
Personally, I like the fact that they knew their limitations with how entertaining they could make the characters. And I think that because like so Tremors is basically Jaws in the desert, right?
Mhm.
It's land sharks,
Yeah,
and Jaws is just played just so like serious, like I'm telling you, you gotta get the people out of the water, and just like all of that, right?
Yeah,
And
scary.
and then scary, yeah. And then you have movies like Eight-Legged Freaks, just also a great movie, but uh, way more campy, not very Tremors. I think Tremors rides that line of just like just just comical enough to be just super entertaining, but also very serious, and that's why I like it. I think it's perfect.
Yeah, the premise is inherently ridiculous, so I think it helps that the characters are kind of slightly caricatured to help you suspend your disbelief a little bit, personally.
100%.
Oops. How about you, Elias? You're on my team.
Yeah, I like it. I don't really have a reason. I watched as a child and I didn't care for it, and I watched it a couple of years ago again to be like, okay, maybe I was wrong about it, and I watched it and I was like, yeah, I still don't care about it, and I don't have a reason to not like it. It's just it didn't grip me.
Mhm.
I like the creature idea. That was fun, but but I also I don't know. I'm not the biggest fan of these campy movies most of the time. Like not that I don't appreciate them. I just I don't know. I don't find them as fun as they could be.
Well, it's definitely one of those movies that I think you have to cut it a lot of slack, and
Yeah.
at the time, you also have to realize that there was very little coming out. There were not that many monster movies, large monster movies. So this was what you got, and I think that you have sort of decent. They were always trying. The movie had heart, so they were always trying to write something funny, even if they didn't do a good job of it. They were always trying to act, sort of appropriately, even if they weren't necessarily acting well. I think that it was that whole thing of being the definition of a B movie is really spot on. There was a lot of heart behind this film, and so for me, I'm able to really just cut it all the slack and let it do its thing, and not feel smarter at the end, but feel entertained.
Yeah, no, I agree completely on that point. I think it is a matter of taste. Like just some things you enjoy, some things you don't.
I mean, it's an absurdly cheap movie as well. I went and looked it up. It had like an $11 million budget, which even for 1990 was pretty small.
Yeah,
Well, Beetlejuice had what? I think they had like a 15 million. Like I mean that's that's 30% more, but still,
That's also like what, 5 years earlier?
no, no,
Oh, is it?
it was
That
two
was
or three
Beetlejuice.
years earlier. Tremors came out in 1990.
I guess like well, what's the director's name for Beetlejuice again? I just
Tim Burton.
Tim Burton. That's right. I think like there's something about the way he makes films where he can somehow get away with making something visually amazing but cheap.
He has a
I think a
specific
lot of directors could pull that off.
he incorporates a specific dark charm into all his movies, which is the appeal. Like you got to have your angle, and this, for me, Tremors didn't have their angle. Like they're kind of like they didn't lean too far one way or the other. Like they needed to have an angle. Like Beetlejuice had dark charm. Uh, like I said, Quentin Tarantino, all his movies have over the top characters. They're like super personalities. Like if they wanted the monster to be the thing and the people to be secondary, like really play up the monster a little bit more. Like like I don't know, they mention his smell and stuff. Like play on that a little bit. Play on like create some scary stuff where you can't really see too much. Like I don't know. There's tons of ideas that could have happened. But yeah, for its time,
Hmm.
it was kind of the first of its kind. So, they're on a frontier. So you gotta they're doing what they could, and they're on a super limited budget. And on top of that, they didn't make that much with the movie. I think it grossed 16 million. So,
Hmm.
on a
Well,
on an $11 million budget, not a lot of people were too happy with that, I imagine. So,
mm,
It must
well,
have gone on to have some kind of like second life on home video or something, or they wouldn't have made so many sequels to it.
probably, yeah. There's lots of movies like
well,
that.
also,
yeah, it's so far.
like you always see Tremors on TV. They were raking it in.
Yeah. Maybe later. Yeah, for
Mhm.
sure.
And I mean, considering its budget, the movie holds up
Yep.
like 100%.
Yeah, it does.
Well, 99.999%. There's one funky composite shot, but otherwise, I mean, it's great.
For what they were
Well,
doing and their angle, yeah, yeah, for sure, and
one of the
especially their
things,
budget. Hell yeah.
and one of the things I would say about the movie is that they, I think, did a better job of establishing and sticking to the rules that they
Mm.
laid out than most movies do today. Creature films. There's a real disconnect from having any sense of believability, and Tremors tried to establish this is what they do, this is what they're about, and I mean, I think that they really did a better job about storytelling than most creature movies of today tend to do.
Most movies, period.
It
I mean,
drives me crazy, like how they will movies will just shoot off and completely forget about, I don't know, speeds of movement of the, I mean, well, movement of the creatures and things like that. And this at least tried to have some sort of tether to the reality that they'd established.
I agree,
yeah,
Yeah.
especially considering the genre, because a lot of horror movies they leave out like any kind of story altogether. So they gave you two kind of lovable characters to hold on to. It's just for like again for me they weren't enough, but still like their angle was still like the right way.
two.
Yeah, the two. Yeah, they had more like the Chang, like the guy. Like there's other people that that had charm to them too. Uh,
All
but like the main characters, Kevin Bacon. I forget what their the and the other dude. I forget Earl and what were their
Joe
names?
Dirt's dad, Kevin Bacon and Joe Dirt's dad. You know his name, right? There was that movie you tried to get me to watch that had him in it. What was it?
Oh, Remo Williams, The Adventure Begins.
Ah, right. But that's not his name, is it?
No.
Who,
So
Michael,
Fred something.
Michael Gross,
What is it?
the guy with the weapons.
Yeah, from
Uh,
Family Ties.
The
Fred
guy with-
Ward.
Fred Ward. That's the one.
Oh,
Yeah.
Fred Ward.
And he was in
Fred
Tremors too as
Fred
well.
Ward.
Yeah.
He was the main character in that one because Kevin Bacon took
Yeah.
a hike. He's like, I'm on to greener pastures, bro. I'm in every movie.
I wonder how much of the budget in the first one went to Kevin Bacon's salary.
It had to be a good amount. Like he's been in some movies, but who? You guys ready to expose yourselves? I think we're ready.
Yeah, I guess.
Mr. Popa,
Mhm.
expose yourself to the camera.
Uh,
Yeah, you're gonna have to stand up for this.
yeah, I know. Let's see.
Are you on the spot? Let me give you a second. Okay, cool. Ooh, what do we got there?
Does it show?
I see some hands. It's a little dark, but I can still see it. See what you're doing.
Whoa,
Oh wow!
See that? That's scary.
that's cool.
Oh, I'm not getting anything.
No?
No.
Oh,
Uh-oh. Maybe
Yeah, that's
not,
Should I reboot?
yes.
Wait. What browser are you on?
Chrome, right?
No, I mean I'm looking at the through the what is this? Jitsi meet.
Uh-huh.
That's what I mean. I'm not getting anything.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just refresh the meet and you might be all right. Hopefully.
Okay.
And if not, then you might have to hijack that stuff and look at it on YouTube on mute.
How do I? Okay, well I can see it on my computer now. So as long as
Yeah, we're good then.
I have the lag, but this is really.
Yeah, we're good. All right, Alexandru,
yeah.
Popa.
Just call me Alex.
Oh, okay, Alex Popa. All right, got it.
You know, no, just Alex because it's easier to pronounce. You know.
Am I butchering your last name? How do you say your last name?
No, you're pronouncing it okay, but it's too many words. So
Okay.
Alex, it's
Oh,
okay.
okay. Well, the only reason I do that as a host, just so anybody that's watching like remembers.
Ah, okay. Yeah, I got it.
And they can look you up below because there's a master list. So if they want to, if they want to go surfing while they're listening to the show, they can like go check out your art or whatever below. So that's why. I do
Yeah,
that.
okay.
But anyway, go on, Alex.
So with this one, like I said, I went again outside the box because that's how I like things. Earlier, I said something. I mentioned about the last Tremors, the Cold Day in Hell or whatever it's called. There was something that gave me this idea. Throughout the movie, the character Gummer, you know the guy with the guns.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, Bert.
Yeah, Bert.
He gets infected because in one of the Tremors he got inside of one of the creatures. So I went, what about a metamorphosis of some sort? And he turns into one of these Tremors. And also I thought about I questioned something myself. Where are they come from? I mean, there's somewhere below. I don't know, because they're not quite alien. So, and I went, I combined with the theory of Hollow Earth. So I imagined something like this, and they, live under the earth crust, and they crawl upwards just to go for hunt or whatever they want to do. And Bert being infected, he then keeps some part of his humanity, but also the creature takes over, and he goes back in the earth where they have the layers, and becomes some sort of a male queen or whatever.
Yeah, I gotta say, I like the idea, like that you kind of went more fantastical as opposed to like anatomical, like trying to figure out like how a worm works, like the reaching hands and the I don't know, the face and the centered other hand that comes out that's like jutting out of his chest. Really cool
Yeah.
ideas, man.
Yeah, this is really creepy. I like this a lot.
Those draping filaments are really cool.
Yeah.
I'm getting kind of a Beksinski vibe from those hands.
Yeah,
Yes.
like the knuckly type, multi-fingered. Yeah, for sure. Like the too many fingered type of thing. Yeah, totally. So you took influence from what was the other movie you said? You mentioned another movie that you took influence as well.
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. I thought you did. I thought you took it.
Is that
The theory of the hollow Earth. That the Earth is not with only lava and stuff, and it's another world inside of it.
Oh, with like beings living in secret and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think I heard a little bit of that. Yeah, I heard some of that.
There was
is that Bert's face in the middle there, above the middle hand?
There's a face.
There is a face, a human.
Yeah, a human-like face. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's Bert.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Nice.
So, these the parts where the hands are, the side parts are basically, the side mandibular claws the creature has,
Yeah.
and having this human shape-ish vibe to it, it kind of attracts potential victims, and with the moving the hand moving, but the fingers like having twitching stuff, and so when the potential victim comes, or the prey comes close, the mandibulas, the jaws open, and the middle hand grabs it and fist up.
Yeah, I could see how it could possibly trap some like play decoy being itself in the dark,
Yeah.
acting like it's trapped within the worm, like help me, but really it's part of the worm for sure.
Yeah. Hey kid, want some candy?
So, Alex, is he going to enforce 15,000 years of tyranny on Nevada to put it on the golden path?
That's a Dune reference right there, right?
Yeah. Also, it was a slightly hint of the God Emperor. Yeah.
So, explain the God Emperor now for all the people that are watching that are not super nerds.
Oh god, this could take several hours.
Okay, well, try to get into well, okay, I'll paraphrase. The God Emperor is never mind. Google that shit. There's a lot.
Exactly.
Just Google God Emperor from Dune, and you're gonna find a whole rabbit hole of information to dig up, because it's there could be a whole show on the God Emperor.
Yeah.
That would last like 5 episodes. So, but yeah, right on, man. I dig the angle you took. I like the fact you went off the grid.
Yep.
Yeah,
Off the grid.
super creepy.
Yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
Dude, it looks so elegant, man. Good job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's really cool.
So, what would you say your favorite part about your piece is?
Basically, it's head.
Okay, I'd have to agree. The
Yeah,
head and the hands, I would have to say.
yeah. I wanted to. I had to add some details because otherwise it would have ended up like the part with the face, this part, and the top head. It would have ended looking like the alien head. So I kind of added some adjustments to it so that I can, avoid that thing. But eventually, yeah, I this is the part that I enjoy doing it.
No, no. What do you think you could have done better? Like, what do you dislike about your design?
The rest of the body.
Oh, okay. Like, what?
Uh,
Looking back at it now, what do you think would have been a good, like, some good options for you?
well, I had a better option for the body, but I, by mistakenly, as a blonde guy as I am, uh, I I started doing the body in ZBrush, and I don't know what happened, but I kind of undid like 50 or 70 steps, and I lost all the details that I had, and this is something like started from scratch, and I gave up, and
Okay,
I
so what was your angle then? Were you doing something else with the legs when you were doing it in ZBrush?
I wanted to do more hands, on the sides, but something similar to uh, wing shaped like hands, because in the last Tremors there was a flying Tremor, so I kind of I was inspired by that.
Okay, interesting. Well, like,
Yeah.
yeah. What would the fun like? It wouldn't be able to fly though. If it like, oh, you mean like maybe it's like it's not quite developed yet. Like it has like some of those genetics, like kind of in it.
Yeah, means let's just say larva state, something.
Okay, I dig it. I dig it.
It's not on its final form yet.
Yeah, yeah. Well, right on, man. Great piece, dude.
Thanks.
Yeah, good idea for sure. I like
Yeah,
it. Anybody else have any feedback?
please.
Please with sugar.
No, no, no. Salt is good.
Oh, salt is also good. You can have salt and
Yeah,
sugar. It's a good. We get Mexican
yeah.
candy.
I love feedback because I'm learning from feedback.
Okay.
Mm.
It's cool. It's creepy. I like how it's kind of bursting up through the. I guess that's ice
Some sort of ice, yeah.
or something. Yeah. I mean, it reminds me a little bit of, I don't know, The Thing, I suppose, in that respect, but it's
Oh,
effective.
nice.
And I just for something that's plopped, right in the center of the page, I think you've done a really nice job with between like the ice and those filaments draping around. Of really just it feels correct. It feels right to me that it's right there. I like it.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, I've got nothing bad to say about this. I really like the design and the angle of it. And the rendering as well. I really love the kind of like slightly gribbly quality to the surface of it with all the textures.
I almost feel like since this is Bert specifically, and we can see his face in there, I almost feel like we should see his hat lying around somewhere or something. Something other recognizable as Bert.
Just the hat,
Where's his mustache, bro?
the hat should be propped on the top of its head.
Not maybe not on its head, but
Thanks for the suggestion. I'm gonna add the mustache and the hat somewhere.
nearby.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
A little
I
bit of
mean, if it was
storytelling.
Bert.
Yeah, a little storytelling couldn't hurt. Yeah, for sure.
Exactly.
Well, nice piece, man. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm glad you like it.
yeah, for sure, man. Good job. Way to go off the grid.
Yeah, thanks.
The
Yeah,
Ka-
seriously, very awesome.
Kanji man, you ready to
Okay.
expose yourself?
Yeah, I just did some line drawings for this one.
That's okay.
Uh,
You're excused.
so, hang on, let me just get to the correct screen mode for this. Let's see how long it takes my computer to respond. There we go. Okay, so kind of like Alex when he was saying about thinking about like larval stages and things. I was mostly thinking about like larval stages of insects and things for my design. So I guess if my computer will respond, because it doesn't seem to like running Photoshop and SQL at the same time. So yeah, my idea was something a little more kind of chitinous and insectoid, I guess.
Mm.
So I've got some like little vestigial insect legs which kind of have hooks on to propel it, and like I'm thinking maybe the like armored ridges around it can also flex to propel it through the soil. I try to keep the head design similar but harder, like an insect. I think I was thinking about the bugs from Starship Troopers a little bit because it's got that kind of hook end on it. So
Yeah, they're
Oh
very
yeah.
similar. They're very similar.
Mm.
I see your bobbit worm, bro. You got some bobbit worm in there.
and I've got
Did you take some influence from the
That's-
bobbit worm?
bobbit worm.
Okay, maybe not then.
No,
Uh,
apparently not.
the bobbit worm is this crazy worm that grows pretty large that straight up eats like fishes and octopi. Like,
Okay, I'll go and look that up.
yeah, look that up.
Well, thanks. I hate it.
Pretty, it's a pretty crazy animal.
Yeah, the other little idea I had is that like the three tongues are kind of like smaller versions of it. These are like a kind of smaller baby stage, and eventually they split off and become graboids of their own.
Oh, that's smart. I like that.
Nice.
So yeah, just a fairly straightforward design. So to try and do something interesting with the tail, like make it a little more insectoid and segmented. Yeah, make it a bit bigger as well. I thought that was actually kind of one thing I would complain about with Tremors is that they come off kind of small. Like I feel like it would be more threatening if they were huge.
There was one big one. Remember, he broke into. He tried to fuck up Reba McEntire. Like
Yeah, it
in
still
that
wasn't big
basement.
enough though. I want one that looks like it could swallow a small car, essentially.
Oh yeah. No, that you're right.
And
That'd be
then
more terrifying.
I've got a little thing hidden down here as well, because I started thinking towards the end of drawing this, well, okay, this is based on like grubs and beetle larvae and stuff like that. Maybe for the sequel, there could be a kind of final stage that pops up in the the end credits, where it's become like a giant tarantula hawk.
Oh, that's scary.
Yeah, it now flies and has a stinger.
Oh, thanks. I hit it again.
Yeah, I could definitely tell that you've considered like locomotion, like within the, like, because for me the original Graboid design doesn't really look like it can move through the dirt. Like,
Yeah, I didn't find that explanation particularly satisfactory. Oh, it has these little tiny spikes on its side that it wiggles to move really quickly through the soil. I was like, wait, what?
yeah,
No.
Although to be fair, it would have been really tough for them to communicate that effectively back then.
oh, of course,
It's
of course.
just
This
true.
is nitpicky bullshit. Like, if we're taking the design to today, so yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah. Oh, well, once you have to redesign it, you have to start thinking about that stuff pretty closely.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah. It's a perfectly functional design for the film that it's in, but I was just like, is there some way to make the way this thing moves through soil kind of cooler? I felt like having some like little vestigial insect legs it could maybe use to like push ground behind it, because obviously that soil needs to go somewhere when it's moving. So and like plates on it as well, if they could like flick dirt back off of it.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yep.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
Yeah, good
And then
idea.
having like the aerodynamic back end, so it's kind of got something that it can flick around to propel itself around a bit faster and have soil run off that as well. That was like the majority of my thinking on this. Having a scared cowboy running away from it as well, that was kind of important.
Old West Tremors. I like it.
Now I see.
They haven't done that in any of the sequels, have they? There's a
They
reason.
Oh
have
no, they did. Yeah,
Oh wait, what?
Like a Wild West?
yeah, they
Yeah.
did an old. Yeah, it was like number 3 or 4 or something.
Oh,
Oh, no,
that could be cool.
It
That'd be
it was
rad.
Kinda
fun.
was,
They used some of the same actors, but just said, okay, you're somebody different now.
Interesting. I don't know if I like that or not.
I guess
Well,
we're gonna have
I think
to
they're
They were
fun.
trying to mix it up.
Yeah. That's cool. That's a cool idea, though.
They made it a period piece, you know.
Well, like a Wild West horror sounds pretty rad. That gave me
Yeah.
that gave me a
That's
semi.
that's what I've wanted them to do for a Terminator sequel for years. If they're going to insist on making those, just like do an
Oh,
old.
that would be cool.
Yeah,
Like, imagine people throwing like dynamite and nitroglycerin at a Terminator or trying to run it over with a steam train. There's so much you could do.
Hmm.
for sure. Yeah, that would be fun.
They never went the campy route, though. Terminator.
Well,
They
didn't.
might as well at this
Hell yeah, they
point.
went the campy route. It's horrible.
Yeah, Genesis was
They went
horrible.
super gritty.
Kind of. But they didn't lean in either way. Like it still had like the same problem. They didn't lean campy. They didn't lean to like super
No,
dark and gritty.
they went super. They tried to be super gritty, and talking about tinting. I mean, they desaturated everything, and
Yeah.
I think they went pretty full tilt on the gritty.
I didn't.
Yeah, Salvation with Christian Bale. How can you get any?
Yeah, exactly.
I quit watching them. But anyway,
I didn't.
Well, that was smart.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know
Genesis
the recent
was
one.
really campy
I've
one.
heard some good things about, but I haven't seen it, so I can't. I don't know.
I'm not
Do not.
I'm not
I've actually heard that
following
the recent one has its qualities,
Nope.
but I don't know who's saying that. I just heard it.
Can't fool me.
Okay,
Kanji liked it.
Graboids.
Graboids.
Graboids versus Terminator.
Oh,
Ooh.
there you go. That could be fun. Let's
Graboid versus RoboCop
Ready?
versus Terminator.
Yeah, we're ready for that. Some fan fiction movies. Let's bring them on. So tell me about those little. I see like they look kind of like little holes that are coming up the side of it. Like, what are those about?
That's just a throwback to the insect thing because it's a size thing with insects, but it's kind of an interesting visual if you've seen macro photography of them. They don't have like lungs in a conventional sense. They have like little holes which air flows through, and that's how they oxygenate their blood. So I just stuck those on the design because I thought it looked kind of cool and a bit creepy to have these kind of like vents running along the side of it.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that's how most insects breathe. They have like a series of passages through their body that air flows through when they move.
It would be cool if they functioned a lot like they just tuned that up. If they took this design and just kind of blew the like use those as kind of like a blowhole, like something expressive for the creature.
They see like sand blowing up, and that's
maybe that's a key to how they move through the ground.
Yeah, maybe he's taking in sand in his mouth
Jets.
and blowing it out the side with jets. Yeah, I like that. Well, good idea. Yours is better.
Yeah, I like that. That's quite good.
Why not both? Why not both?
Yeah.
Maybe it grabs oxygen from like the moisture in the dirt, blows it out the side, so it's like.
Does anybody know how I'm sorry. Does anybody know how arachnids breathe? Is it the same?
It's similar. Like a lot of arachnids have something called I think it's a book lung. I'm not entirely.
Oh yeah, I've heard of this. But isn't that something that like crabs have or something?
Yeah, I think because they're arthropods as well, so they have a similar.
Related, right?
Yeah.
Huh. Book lung.
Fuck do you guys know that shit? Get the fuck out.
I should know. I know about book lungs. I don't know anything about them though. I don't know how they work. I should look into that.
Yeah, interesting stuff.
Stuff.
Definitely food for thought. So, Kanji, what would you say your favorite part about your design is?
That's a good question. I think like the little vestigial legs. I like the fact that there's like something running along the side of it that looks a little bit creepy and weird compared to the very smooth design. Like the original design is like all head, right? It's all in the head, and then the back is just like nothing. It's just a blob of latex essentially.
Kind of
So
elephant-y, a little bit elephant-like.
yeah, Yeah, I was kind of happy to get something extra onto the side of the design, if that makes sense.
And your least favorite part?
Least favorite thing is the fact that I wish I could have just spent some more time on this and made some more polished illustrations, which is, my usual complaint when I do stuff for this. I always seem to run out of time and not get something I'm 100% happy with.
Maybe there could be an episode where we come back to where we work on our things for a while, something that we really like, and come back to them later, like a couple months later.
Yeah, that's
with
a good
something
idea.
more.
Like improving
Yeah.
the
How's
design
that?
we did before. I dig it.
Yeah, if there's something that we really wish, because I'm kind of the same way. Like I wish I had more time to pursue this whole thing. I just kept getting ideas, and I could see how that might be the case with lots of these subjects. And some people might just want to, spend a couple more weekends on it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, for sure. That is a good idea. An idea for like a drop-in show, like every once in a while, to like mix it up. Like we're
Yeah,
gonna,
special.
yeah, special. Like we're gonna revisit this. We did this 4 months ago. Like I don't know. I could think of a couple off the top of my head that I would like to like polish further. Like I did a Freddy Krueger, which would be cool to go revisit, make him cooler. You know. So that's
Oh
cool.
man,
redesign.
I don't even.
Yeah.
I'm actually still working on polishing up that Samurai Predator.
Yeah.
Oh,
See?
There you go. Like stuff like that.
yeah.
But I would suppose that we would need to do it, agree to that later on. Like, well, I mean, before the first show. But look, we're gonna revisit this later. We're gonna come back. So.
Well, I don't even think it would have to be the same subject, though. Just what different people are going to be taken by different designs that they were pursuing.
Oh, and everybody
Just have it be a grab bag.
Okay.
Yeah.
I dig it. Good idea. Well.
Yeah, it could be a good end of year special actually. Like the Christmas special, we just come back and review like stuff that we've done in the year and like polished up versions.
Yeah, I like that idea a lot. That's a good idea, man. Elias.
Oh, my turn?
It's a beautiful day to be alive, motherfucker.
Okay, let me see.
Good stuff, Kanji.
Yeah, good stuff, brother. Yeah, like the thought again. Like if you want to go back to it, I like William's idea. So coming back to stuff later, we could do like a special or something.
Hell yeah.
So Elias Ravenetti.
Oh, yes. Am I exposing myself?
Your beautiful chin.
Yeah, here we go.
Not your art yet. You're not exposing your art yet.
No, no one wants to see that. No, okay. Well, here we go.
You ready?
Yep.
Wow.
Okay. So I wanted to just imagine a scene with the Tremor, and what I was going for was just something gigantic, like not even like like something that could devour entire towns or structures.
That's some scary shit.
Damn.
Yeah, and I was just imagining like this dude, like he's I don't know, he's a redneck or something, and he's just like minding his business in the desert, just shooting at random things, and then I guess he made too much noise and bothered this guy, and he came out to voice a complaint with him. But yeah, other than that, it was mostly just making him as big as possible and really just making it feel like it's like you don't even have a chance out of here. Like you see it, you're dead, type of thing.
Just like just like the at the end of the movie Mist.
Oh, yeah.
When they saw those humongous creatures strolling around,
Now you did change some stuff, like I could see. Obviously, you got some spider legs coming out of jutting out of his face.
Oh yeah, no, he's like, at one point I was just playing with his face, and I was literally thinking of like, well, how do we make this even more terrifying? And I thought, oh yeah, spider legs, and I thought that'd be cool. Like that's how he can eat people. He just, like he gets in front of you and like he just drags things with his legs into his mouth, rather than having the tongues, because he has the tongues in the movie. So here I was just like, oh, what if it's like actual ligaments and legs?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Does he have an eye? Is that what that little bright spot is?
No, that's his mouth.
Oh, okay.
Is it blind?
It's pretty much blind. It's like, again, it mostly goes off of like sound and earth movement, like movement and so seismic activity. And this guy, is going with his gun around, just shooting stuff. He made a bit too much noise,
Yeah.
and I paid this guy's attention.
Yeah, I could see also like him using those like spider type mandibles to like prop itself up here and there, like
Oh yeah.
if it wants to like or use them like to like put it up and like sense with the hairs on it maybe perhaps
Mhm.
you know.
No, and like on one hand, it's to keep himself like when he lands, because this is like he's jumping out of the ground right now. Like the moment he lands, like to move his face a bit more precisely rather than having to move his whole body. Like the legs help a lot for that too.
Yeah, also so it doesn't crush itself under its own weight because it's a
Yeah,
giant creature. So it kind of
yeah,
makes
yeah.
sense, like anatomically, I think. Kind of. I'm not a scientist, but you know,
I hope so. I hope like I'm neither. But
pseudoscience tells me that does help.
yeah. But yeah, that's mostly it.
Nice composition.
Yeah,
Yep.
really clear comp you got going for sure.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah,
mine
I
really
get
feel like
jealous of stuff like this because I love these kind of like film keyframe kind of moments. I wish I could do stuff like this.
I'm pretty sure you can. Your drawings are awesome. Uh, yeah, thank you. It's just mostly that's what I enjoy doing. Like I really enjoy doing keyframes, and I thought even with this creature, like um, the its size wouldn't. It's be hard to communicate its size if it wasn't in the scene, wrecking shit up. So I thought those things would just all go very well together.
Hmm. Um. Oh, go on. Someone was gonna say something. Like,
No,
what about other types of functionality? Like, do you see like how do you see the like how do you see it moving like through the dirt and whatnot? Like, because
well, due to its massive size,
uh-huh.
in many ways, like it again, like it just needs to just prop itself up, many ways with its legs, and they do give like a certain mobility to him. Um, but other than that, I'll be honest, I did try. I did keep the body very similar to the original in the sense that it's mostly the face. Uh,
Oh,
in
but he
many
does
ways.
it in little flippers.
Well, yeah, I don't know if this is a moment that resonated with people, but like in the last God of War game when the giant serpent came out, and it's just like it's almost as if its body is too big to really conceive of. It's gigantic, and in many ways, I was really thinking that these creatures would be really cool. Not only as just like creatures that go through the desert, but literally like almost end time monsters that are almost leviathans, but ground leviathans.
Mm,
And
Well, maybe to something that big, if it's that strong and heavy,
yeah.
what we think of as hard soil might just be more like liquid to them.
No, pretty much. Like these guys, it's so easy for them to maneuver just because they're so gigantic that, like even a building like would just seem like, made out of paper.
yeah,
'Cause
that makes
just
sense.
Being these ginormous and the fact that they can move fast under earth, but having those spider legs makes it move even faster on the land. So yeah, I hate it.
yeah. Thank you. Yeah. No. Hopefully, the spider legs like make sense because there's a part of me that's like, okay, it's so gigantic, but when you're that big, it's hard to really do like minute movements,
Oh,
you know. And now
yeah.
it places its head like that helps it like move its head around dynamically rather than just having to move his entire body.
Well, and like you said, you thought it would look cool to throw some legs on there, and I think that especially with Tremors, that's what you're doing is you're sort of balancing the idea of just a cool giant creature with something vaguely plausible.
Yeah.
and it's sort of like just come up with an excuse for why the legs should be there and why that makes sense because they're cool looking.
Yeah.
Well, they're cool looking, but also it's just like, like if you want to really think about it, I don't think any creature this big would actually be able to exist. So hopefully the spider legs make it like at least conceivably capable of moving when on land.
Yeah, dude, it looks bitchin', dude. Like
Oh,
like a keyframe, you know, all that shit. Like it's a keyframe. It's a nice comp. It's I mean, well, which is keyframe supposed to be anyway. But you know, nice comp, nice creature, cool design,
thank you.
good piece, man. What
Thank you.
would you say your favorite part about the piece is?
The spider legs.
Spider
I
legs.
like I you know, I kind of like him, you know, his attitude, but I find the mouth and the spider legs, all that part really makes it fascinating, at least to me.
Yeah, yeah, it looks cool, dude. Do you see them like receding when he goes under the ground, or do you see them
Oh,
like?
totally, totally. Like they kind of, well, they go forward, you know, like imagine like they go forward and then, you know,
That we see right
that's
now.
like, yeah, exactly. Well, no, forward, like they actually like shoot forward.
Like a diver.
Like a diver.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a diver. And so those things like can get in the ground and like help himself move too, like or going on the ground because
Yeah,
they can just shoot.
like those crazy spiders that can bury themselves in half a second, kind of thing.
Exactly that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what would you say your least favorite part about it is?
Uh oh God. A lot of it. I'm never a fan of my work.
Well,
Um,
that's good. Yeah, that means you're gonna get better. So,
yeah. I guess I'd like to. I would have liked to focus a little bit more on the environment because yeah, it's cool, but it's just like except for the foreground and a little bit of the midground, like the background is just haze, which I guess could make sense, but
I think it's just right. I mean, the attention is right on the graboid and the other stuff. I think it works real well for what it is. You could tweak it, of course, but I think it's pretty sustainable just as it is right now.
yeah, your comp's good. You got everything like real, like all the important parts like tight, like close together, so it's creating tension.
thank you.
Like
The
you're,
lighting's really pretty.
Yeah.
the lighting's really nice. You got like the comp's good. Like
I really like the atmospheric perspective on the graboid as well. Actually, that's really good. It sells the size.
And
maybe
it looks. Go ahead.
maybe the only thing you could have done maybe is just like, and this is totally nitpicky, is just add some other elements of him, like why he's there, like
Yeah,
maybe like have like a cooler or something next to his chair.
I don't know if it's obvious, but there's like a little bottle here, but I guess I made it so transparent that it ended up defeating the purpose of putting it there. So
Yeah, I don't see it. But
yeah,
or like a couple boxes of shells or something. Yeah, it's just a little bit more storytelling, but it's
A
nitpicky,
box
bro.
of shells. I like that the guy's posture is just standing there. He's not actually. What's happening is happening so fast that you almost wouldn't expect him to be able to respond. He's
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
he's just standing there like he probably was a moment ago,
yeah.
but now he's looking at the thing.
Yeah, that's
I
the
like
moment
that.
of acceptance, that he's about to die.
I
Or
feel like
he
I
hasn't
made
had a chance to respond even. He's
Yeah.
I
just
feel like
awestruck.
Yeah,
I
no
feel like it makes
acceptance. Yeah.
this dumb joke every single episode, but it looks like he's about to start frantically mashing the circle button.
Exactly.
So yeah,
I got a question.
of course. Yeah,
How do they beat him? Do they like do a
you
4-hour
don't,
trip? You
you
don't?
don't beat him.
You just die, bro.
You
You,
just die.
Or you hope you're not in his path.
Go
Maybe
for
he's
the
heading somewhere
legs.
else.
Like
Go
maybe
for the
some
legs.
military or something gets involved and they nuke him, but other than that, I don't think so.
summon Godzilla. There's no way, bro. You can't do that.
Yeah,
I
no.
was thinking like, what if you like drove to the Grand Canyon and then just like swerved and he jumps into the Grand Canyon and dies? No,
Well, that's what happened in the
Movie.
first movie, isn't
Yeah,
it?
exactly.
I got a plan.
You got to
I
find a
got
bigger canyon, a bigger
Now you
cliff.
can find like a really big canyon.
They got a 4-hour like chase scene. Is he still chasing? He is. Keep it going.
Maybe they hit one cliff like in the first movie, but it's not high enough, so it doesn't do anything. They got to find another cliff.
Yeah, keep throwing him off of cliffs the whole movie.
Yeah,
Doesn't
for
work.
each Tremors will never get old.
Or you can get a bunch of hobbits to grab its legs and rip them off.
Mm.
Yeah,
Ah,
because that's
Yeah.
what hobbits do.
Yep.
That's what I was gonna say.
That's what they do. They fucking rip those fuckers off.
Great minds think alike.
Hmm.
Well, actually, if you can fuck with the legs, that'll do a lot of work because it'll definitely lose a lot of its sense of orientation and all those things.
yeah. Oh, what if they beat him with the power of sound?
Oh,
Blasted metal music at him until he jumps into the ocean and dies.
No, maybe these creatures they like rock music. How about Justin Bieber?
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Mm.
Baby, baby, no copyright strike.
No copyright strikes.
Wow.
Get out of here.
So,
But great piece, man.
thank you, thank you.
Yeah, knocked
How
it
do
out of
I?
the park. Fantastic.
Look so pro, dude.
Oh, I want to add another thing.
Go, man.
What I like the most
Dwarves.
about the not the worst, the best thing.
No, I said dwarves. Dwarves. Hobbits and
No.
dwarves. Like
Oh yeah,
they ruined
exactly. But
my joke.
what I want to say about the this piece is that it has a poster vibe, like
Hmm.
and a white poster, and that's I love posters, and you know everything that you talked about, it's there, and you should just add a title to it, and that's it.
Yeah, honestly, what he could do is like he can put this on the Tremors collection, and it's like a
Oh
book
yes,
up, and it's like front and back.
yeah,
That'd be sick.
Oh,
Because it kind of
yeah.
looks like that, doesn't it?
yep.
Yeah, you could do like
Yeah.
some other people at the shooting range or something. Like there's like he's there with his buddies and they're also shooting, but like the other at his tail there's like another couple trucks that are like flying up in the air, and then so are the people or something. You know, something like that. Like it's for the other part of the poster, like the second
For
part.
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Damn, yeah, that's a really good idea. I wish I thought of that.
Do it.
Steal it, brother. Steal it.
I don't, with your permission, but thank you, really. I really appreciate I was trying to go for honestly poster look, so I'm really happy that you got that. But
Yeah,
thank
man.
you, thank you,
Yeah, dude. Great work.
thank you.
Amer,
Okay.
كيف حالك?
Alhamdulillah. وانت انت تمام؟
كويس.
كويس كويس. Alhamdulillah. That's good. All right, you want me to expose myself?
Expose yourself to the camera.
All right, shake that dollar at me and I will.
It's
All
right
right,
here.
one second.
It's right here.
Vegas humor,
I got
baby.
I got a Benny for you. What do I get?
You get a kiss on the cheek.
Aw.
I was a wholesome strip club.
Nothing like whiskers on my cheek that aren't mine.
Alrighty. So this is just the first little sketches. I'll take you guys on the tour, the
Okay.
joint. Right. So the Tremor guy. Let's see. I wanted his tongues to be like rough on the top and like slimy on the bottom, like a person's tongue. And the bottom kind of has tentacles.
Nice.
Oh,
And
shit.
it opens up like 4 ways. So you got like hooks at the end, and then I kept the horn idea that they had the silhouette in the original Tremor tongue. And then let's move on to the next one. Let's see. What else did I do? Right, he has like these muscly wings where the spikes are on. Because it didn't make sense to me either. The spikes. They just wiggle about, and then he's able to move like at 50 miles an hour. Like, nah. And then, like, what if he encounters like a particularly hard like patch of soil or like a rock or something? I would imagine like he'd need some muscle to just like push rocks out of the way,
Oh, nice.
like flaps. So I jump into that idea a little bit more later, but I do want to get through this first. Right. And okay, and the scale patterns before I jump into the wings too much. Um the top of him up here is kind of unscaled because he needs to like hear you and feel the vibrations on his skin. And then where the soil would touch the monster the most is where he would have more scale to prevent chafing and stuff. And then I thought that I would like for him to have like an armored tail, so that like because I would imagine that he can really whip that thing around to really get that extra burst of speed, and like that's where he can be like the most mobile. Like most animals would just be like in his tail, so that would have to be like straight up armored, so he can really just push into the soil like really hard. Um, and okay, moving on. Let's see what else do I got in here. Oh, cool. So, actually, I want to show you guys the idea before I go into the illustrations. So, I have my final sheet. I just wanted to do this like industry style, not do an illustration this time around, just because I've been trying to beef up my portfolio for like concept art and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So let's take it through. This is my Tremors Monstieur redesign. Um, oh right, that green tongue thing that you saw in the last one, that's a cactus eyes,
Oh.
or
Oh.
or cacti.
See what you did
Wow.
Oh
From
gosh.
the mind that gave us Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
The mind of Danny to Beetlejuice. I give you the masturbator, Graboid. He made you.
there. That's funny. That's a good idea,
Yeah.
though.
Yeah, so the idea behind it is, so when I was thinking of Tremors, it's like, okay, what can you do that's new with the design, right? You can make him bigger, like Cold Day in Hell. You can make him walk, like Tremors 2. You can make him fly, or you can make him go back to the water, like in Jaws, which is land Jaws, so that would be redundant. It's like, what do you do with it? So I was thinking, okay, these guys are really smart. What if they could see?
Oh.
If they could see and not be seen, then you have a problem. Because they can like observe your patterns of behavior,
Mm-hmm.
and then like let's say it just sees, wow, this guy grabs his wallet every day, like when he wakes up. I can see him through his window because it's just a cactus. You wouldn't know, right? So you're just walking by and you just see, it's just like walk by a cactus. He picks up his wallet, and then later on in the movie, you got these little tongues that come creep in through the window and steal his wallet and just leave it like right next.
Thanks for the cash.
Yeah, he's just like
Charging for stuff online.
Shopping
Yeah.
spree.
What the hell is this?
Yo, Tremors identity theft. Let's go. So he just like steals the wallet, leaves it in front of the doorstep with a cactus that's never been there before. But he's just like, why is my wallet on the floor? What's this doing here? Boom, I'm dead. Dang, sucks to be me. So,
But why would he fuck with his wallet?
well, because he sees that like, or he just looks at things that people interact
like-
with every day.
Because
Like a
money
crocodile.
smells. That's why.
Because what?
Money smells.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
like let's say like kid, he picks up a book every day, same book, and he's like, okay, well, can you pick up that book over here, right next to my mouth?
Trying to lure the person over
Yeah.
to the dirt.
To make it.
Why are my
Yeah.
glasses out in the dirt?
Yes.
Uh-oh.
Interesting.
Whoop.
So maybe this isn't the most mobile creature, and that's why. Like he has like short bursts of energy, and that's it. Like
Oh no, he can move fast. This was just the next evolution because people started beating up graboids because we do it all the time, bro.
oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
So they
So now he's just like, I need to see you guys to get an edge on, or else I'm dead.
We got all the stupid ones.
yeah.
Yeah.
I get it. I dig it. I like the on your little illustration in the top or left. I like the color breakup for his body. So it's
Yeah.
pretty nice aesthetic, I'd say.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I wanted to just be like a desert gator to
Hmm.
like push the whole like sea creature in the desert vibe, but still make it kind of hick. And then like I just wanted to show him with his natural colors because I thought it'd be cooler just to imagine him covered in dirt. So like later on, like let's say he does get water on him some way or another, it it like washes away the dirt to reveal like more colors underneath, like gator skin and the skin patterns that I was talking about earlier.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
man.
Thanks for noticing.
Yeah, dude.
Um, yeah, and then let's see. I also got cool the scale ideas that I was talking about before. They'd be thicker towards the spikes that wiggle, like to give them fidelity in the soil. But then the themselves are kind of muscly,
Hmm.
and they're in contact with dirt a lot, so they have some scales, and they
Maybe
just push its way through.
maybe they're a little bit barbed, like one way, so they can kind of help grab as well.
Yeah, yeah, totally, totally. Yeah, it's just underside wing placement. I just wanted to be thorough, kind of thorough with this design, and I didn't get around to actually making an illustration. I considered it, but I didn't do it. But let me show you the stuff I considered, the ideas, before I wrap up. Um, I thought maybe like you know when Kevin Bacon's talking to Joe Dirt's dad, and they're like, "Oh man, we could get like a crane and like how are we gonna move this thing? You know, like how are they gonna make a buck off of it?"
Hmm.
So this is them taking it with a crane, trying to move it onto a truck with a bed on it.
Cool.
Yeah, and this is the guy in the desert, like, who put my keys out here? That's like his,
His MAGA hat.
yeah, who put my Trump button out here? Oh no, Kaepernick! You know. Oh, and I was thinking, like, how would they kill it? You know, like how would they win? So in this picture, you can't see it very well, but they like lure it into like a mining quarry thing with like concrete walls and stuff, so it can't get away, and they all just like pump it full of lead. You know, so I don't know.
Yep.
No, that could work. I could see that working. Just
Yeah,
some like some predator scene, like when they're mowing down the the jungle. Like
yeah,
they finally after all this terror of people dying and stuff, they corner them, or someone loses their life in order to corner him. Like he eats that person, and then they just pump him full of lead, and
yeah,
then he's dead, and then they say their goodbyes at the end of the movie, and there's a little sadness, but there's also a kiss too, so it's all good. And
And then there's
yeah.
the post-credit scene where there's another one.
yeah,
Oh no!
and this one's in the ocean, and it's eating sharks and shit, and it
And now
grows.
there's two cactus mouths.
Double the baiting. Um, yeah, this one I was thinking that they like they they pull it out of the dirt using their truck, and somehow they get like chains around it, and they just like pull it out, but then it fights back, and the truck's like back is getting lifted up here. Another idea, they lure it into the middle of the desert and then just play rock music at it while they tie it down.
I see the guy with the flaming guitar on the back of yeah.
All right here.
He's there, yeah.
And
Yeah,
on the left side is the one with the drums.
yeah,
Oh
that's
Yeah.
yeah, good eye, good eye, good eye. He's like, yeah, you saw those drums, motherfucker.
Turning up to 11.
yeah, dude. They just turn it up to 11 and make him squirm. Then you got the strong guy with the wife beater on, just like wrestling it to the floor while it's disoriented. Yeah, I don't know.
That's
I just played around with the ideas,
no,
but I
that's
didn't
cool,
Man,
actually.
man.
this
Little
would be a good movie.
little storyboarding
Hey,
action.
Yeah.
thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Good work. So, what would you say your favorite part about your design and like rather all the work that you've done? Like, whoa,
My favorite part, I
yeah.
would have to say, is the is how I was able to put the wings on it and have it make sense to me.
Mm,
Like I like the shape of the body, um, and I also just along the same vein, I guess I like how I described my ideas here. Like it just seems like I was just very thorough with each part of it.
I would say so. Yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I imagine the front of his body also like because it's kind of twisty looking, like it like an earthworm how they move through the ground. That he would be able to like expand that part and contract like and also to make more room and then like push himself forward, like you said, like with the armored tail. Makes sense.
yeah. I try to make it as practical as possible so that it at least looks the part, aside from in concept being super like goofy.
Oh, you mean with the cactus tongue?
The cactus idea.
Yeah, that's a little goofy, but it could work depending on the tone of the movie. You know what I
I
mean?
think so. Yeah, I mean it's a great way to save money. You just put googly eyes on the cactus and then
Oh my
walking
God.
around.
Get out of here. All right, so what would you say your least favorite part is?
Mm.
Not being in the movie yet.
I'd have to say my least favorite part was just the concept of the entire movie as a whole. It was just too goofy for me, but it was what I had, and I was running out of time, and I was like, you know what? This is what it's gonna be, and I'm just gonna rock it. So I'm gonna do my best. Turned out all right, but I think I could have done better just with the actual core idea of what I wanted to do.
Yeah, it's part of the challenge, man. I think you did good. Like
Thanks,
sometimes,
man.
Yeah.
like we all got other shit we got to do. So we're not just doing this. So like,
Mhm.
in order to fill a gap, like of a small amount of time, in order to push a concept and get the juices flowing, I think you did a good job.
Hey, thanks, man. I appreciate that.
My least favourite part of this is that you haven't talked about Reba McIntyre enough this episode.
Oh man, she's waifu material, man. I'm still mad at that intro. Yo, man. Yo, James showed me that preemptively, and then I saw it again, and I had to watch it again. Yo, low blow, bro. Low
I
blow.
thought it was hilarious, but
It was hilarious, but man, you can't talk about my wife like that. Reba, if you're watching this, you
we
got somebody in your corner.
we love you, Reba. So it's all for fun,
Oh, fun.
all fun. All right, so uh, well, we don't know. Come here, Billy Hand, William. You're up, brother.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, here we go. You can see what's on the screen, right?
Yep.
Nope.
Nope, that's a problem.
No. Let me
I
try
can.
and refresh. Oh, okay. Well, now I can after a moment. So, okay, you're not starting with oh, these are actually sort of in order.
Oh, it might be a little.
Can you start
It's all it
can you
loaded. It loaded a little.
Jesus.
There's a lot. It loaded funky,
uh
I think.
okay, it's like one and then like 1A, 1B, 1C and
I
stuff
don't.
until
Here,
two.
let me try to find 1A real quick. I'll try to do it.
Okay.
It
Or just
started.
no, find one and then 1A is after that.
Oh, I might be in trouble, bro.
Dude,
Okay.
I love the
Well, I can
volume.
just talk about what I see pop up as it pops up.
Okay, let's try that. I'm sorry, William. I wanted it to load right, but like there's a lot, so like I don't know if I can not have everything just
Okay, we'll just
explode.
yeah, just okay.
So
Okay, so what I'm seeing here on the screen is from the first page, yeah?
yep,
Um,
this is page 1B.
yeah. So here, these little nub things, I was just trying to come up with a way that it might move through the earth, and I was picturing these sort of hammers that would expand outward in all directions and sort of shatter, like send shock waves outwards and help it move through the dirt. I mean, this is early stuff here, so
Oh,
that
that's a
was
cool
just a
idea.
brainstorm.
Like these would vibrate right here.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can read my notes here.
Well, it
um,
says when flaked rubs.
when flexed, the nubs spread out, punching in a spiral. So yeah, so you can move on to another
Okay. Oh, here they
picture.
are. Well, here's a close up. So you might be a little behind because you're watching otherwise.
I might be behind. Yeah, because I'm getting nothing on my phone, unfortunately, and
If
it's
you
more than a couple seconds.
if you
Yeah,
can
It's
get
lagging.
there's a little bit of a delay, unfortunately,
I
between
Yeah,
some.
I have an idea. So
yeah, that's a close up, right? I
yep,
see that now.
it's a close up. If you would like, you can open up your on your end. Like open up if it's already open. Like I could just tell you what page we're on, and we can go to those pages. I don't know if that's fast or more complex, but yeah.
Yeah, you can tell me what image you're on, and I can probably figure it
One
out.
C.
Okay, page 1C.
All right. I do actually have to go to it, don't I? All right. So 1C is. Yeah, okay. So that's where we were. Move on from 1C.
Okay. 1D.
All right. So it's more of the same, just showing those same little nubs. I was, I was sort of thinking in a detailed way before thinking about the larger qualities of the creature, I guess. Just trying to get a sense of, I don't know, wherever my mind took me. So this is just the base of those nubs flaring out, giving it extra strength. Let's go on to the next picture.
Yeah, I can see like there's like smaller, like almost like teeth, like on the nubs, and
Yeah, these are like molars, is what I was thinking.
like
Um,
just to further
I,
agitate. It makes sense.
yeah, I mean, I didn't, and to direct the force into sort of a broader area. I didn't pursue this too far, this particular concept. So
Okay, so we went. Now we're
yeah,
on
we'll just move on.
1E.
All right. So here it's the same thing. I was showing kind of a cross section to give you a sense of the nubs shooting out in the different directions, and to the left there you can kind of see that they're spiraling around the body. Next image.
Okay, we're on 1F right now.
Okay. This was the top of the page. This is the very first thing I drew. Um, what I was thinking paddle tail, helping it propel through liquefied earth. And you can go on to the next image. So I throughout my sketches, I kind of kept returning to this idea that somehow the worm, the way it's moving so quickly through the earth, it is sending out shock waves that create liquefaction, which generally happens during earthquakes or certain sorts of earthquakes. And so the soil literally becomes like a liquid. And that's why the thing is able to move so quickly through the earth. Instead of just digging, it is literally propelling itself through as if it's propelling, like swimming through water. So that's what that's
a really badass idea, brother. Really cool, dude.
Thanks.
I like this head particularly, like uh, like it's staying true to like the general shape language of the original, but it just looks better. It looks more
Yeah.
Thanks.
like it could
This might
exist.
actually be. It might be one of the more, even though it's the first thing I drew, it might be one of the more sort of successful or original looks that I came up with.
This too, I really like this too. This
Where are you?
I'm still on page two with the I don't know. It has like, oh wait, how did I get on page two? I went on page two. Sorry, I went. Or
I don't
wait,
know.
you went
Tell me where
next.
you are, because I can't.
I apologize. I don't know what happened, but I'm tripping on page two.
Okay, so what? Oh, so that's what you were talking about. Okay,
Yes.
so here's page 2, and we can move on to the detail pages of 2.
But also the previous page, I like the what you had going with the almost like a freaking. Uh, it's almost like one of those eels, like with the weird mouth. So
Okay.
yeah. So
Okay, so all right. So you were referring to which one were you saying you liked so much?
it was
On page 2?
on page two. Yeah, you got this
Oh, okay.
more kind of the original shape language of the graboid, but better.
Okay.
Looks a little more functional looking.
Okay, so here on page 2 is when I actually I went back to the internet and I took a look at some photos of graboids, and although I wasn't drawing directly from them, I tried to, looking at the pictures, internalize some of the structures a little bit more and bring them into the sketches, and the body shape. You can see that sort of slug-like body that you get in the movies, or at least the first movie. And yeah, so this is sort of riffing on that a bit.
Hmm.
Where
Next,
are we?
we'll go next. Page 2A.
Okay, so here, yeah, you actually get to see the whole body. That's probably the most cinematic looking perspective I've got in the bunch. Um, just a suggestion of it being atop the land. There you get a nice shot of a flipper-like tail, I suppose.
Hmm.
But yeah, just some variations.
All right.
Same with 2B, just more variation. 2C is a close up of that one with the. Let's go on to page 3, I
Page
guess.
3. We're there.
Jesus.
Yeah, look how much
Yeah.
you did. You did. This is amazing.
Wow.
This is awesome, dude.
So
Yeah.
Oh, great! Thanks.
I gotta say, I really love the style of these pages. They remind me of kind of like Da Vinci's anatomy drawings or something like that.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing. It's just like you've been traveling throughout, the world and see all these creatures and document everything.
Hmm.
I love it.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. If we want to move on to 3, A, or some of these other
Sure.
details of 3, I guess if you have any comments or questions, I
These
can.
the 3A. I like. I'm
Mhm.
particularly fond of this center one. I like it. It really looks like it can like dig like it just looks very functional. And
Okay.
actually, they're all good. They're all great, bro. Just how any one of these can work like really nicely. So
So yeah, in 3A, I was going a little bit more, I suppose, asymmetrical, something almost more like a lamprey in a way,
hmm
is where the juices were going.
hmm
Um,
and 3B.
okay. Yeah, I mean, we can actually probably move on to. I mean, you can go at your own pace, I guess, but
Well, you just
go
tell
on to
tell
C.
tell me. Just say shoot, and I'll do. That's our
Or,
magic word.
page. Oh, okay. Well, let's see. Page 3C. I guess you can see. There's a little bit of a hint of the bobbit worm creeping in there at the bottom.
If you guys don't know what a bobbit worm is, those of you that are watching, look that shit up. Shit's
Same.
crazy.
3D is again kind of a close up. 3E, same sort of thing. And then on to go. If we go on to 4 and 4A.
It's 4A.
Yeah.
Damn, every one of these is great.
So for I suppose the biggest development here is I was thinking about having these, and this came up in your suggestion of one of the previous um, concepts, was having these exit points for dirt coming through the mouth.
Oh, with the holes right here.
Yeah, those are sort of holes coming along the side, and
see.
I started thinking about ways that, I don't know, maybe it actually gains some sustenance or some important minerals that it needs, and sifts out what it doesn't, in the same way that a creature in the sea might
Yeah, they got to keep moving or they die.
filter feeder or something. Yeah, something along this sharkish. Let's see, 4B. I guess I don't have anything particular to say about that. 4C, I moved on to this idea of something a bit more, I don't know, sort of soft in appearance until it opens up its mouth, and then that's where the sort of horror reveals itself. I was thinking it looked a little bit like a barn owl.
Oh yeah.
Which I found sort of appealing, this idea of the softness. And if we go on to 4E and 4F, I continued that same idea, just exploring a sort of a softer appearance while it's traveling through the soil, and then opening up to grab its prey.
I like that barn owl idea quite a bit. Like
The sheer volume of just all the ideas that you have is just staggering, dude.
And they're all good.
All good, well thought out ideas.
Thank you. Boy, they didn't. That's something that didn't stop. Like a lot of ideas kept coming, but I wasn't able to. I don't know. I didn't have the time or sort of the energy to really keep moving. I wanted to do something a bit more finished today, and I just got rough sleep over the past couple of nights, so it wasn't there. But I'm glad that you like these ideas.
yeah, these are great, man.
No, it's so awesome.
They're all great. Like I really like the idea of the barn owl idea too, because like the creepy stuff that's reminiscent of stuff that isn't creepy.
Right.
There's something grounding about that, so it's a really good idea.
Let's see.
Yeah, you say barn owl. That one actually kind of reminded me of a tardigrade, which is nice.
Oh yeah,
these things are kind of cute, but also
yeah.
when you look closer, they're kind of a little bit creepy as well.
Yeah.
Extend to feed.
Mm.
All right, so for 4F, we are on 4G now.
Okay, just a more sort of typical graboid look.
I have a question.
Sure.
So when you have an idea, you just draw it out, even if it might not be the best idea. It's just kind of fuel for the next one, and you just like steamroll, and just these ideas just keep coming. Or do you ever have ideas that you're just like, that's not even cool enough to draw, and then you paralyze?
Well, hang on a sec here. Yeah, I mean, I suppose it's a bit of both. I mean, but mostly the ideas come to me while I'm in the creative process. They don't tend to come to me before, so I have to just kind of keep drawing and hope that I latch on to something.
Damn, that is awesome. That like I'm sure me as well as a lot of artists out there have to hear that. You know, so sometimes you don't have the idea beforehand. You just create.
No, not at all.
Thinking on the canvas. You got to think on the canvas, or nothing comes.
Yeah.
Well, and to me, this whole process, although I was, really happy with some of these ideas, if I was seriously doing this for, a production or, some finished product, this would be the early stages, and I would want to, I would hope that I would just keep getting, more complicated, more elegant ideas that, that I could translate into something that you would just accept, that you hopefully wouldn't believe that it wasn't a real thing. That's where I would want to try to push it. And you might not understand any of the thought process behind it, but hopefully it would be, I would be taking the best ideas and
Yeah, it would feel like something that would work.
Yeah, I mean, that's I ended up. There was a real push and pull for me between trying to keep these looking like the original Graboids, versus trying to come up with something that I believed would really function.
That's always a struggle, man.
And I didn't, and so I didn't know. Like originally, I thought I was just gonna like draw some like crazy worm thing, and try to refine it and make it look nice, and that was going to be it. But ultimately, I was like, I gotta dig into this original design, and try to explore that for a while, and make sure that I'm honoring it, if to the degree that I really like those original ideas. If I can pull them into future design, that might be a nice thing instead of just going completely different. So, all right. So where are we? Are we on page 5 yet? Okay. So, yeah. So this is pretty straightforward. I was sort of messing around with. I added some little legs to the bottom of the graboid on the left, and then on the right, I was messing around with the idea of those little tendril feelers that come out in the film, and didn't get too far with that. Just was playing around with the idea of something spirally that, like the mouth of a butterfly, or a hummingbird, something that's all like coiled up and then extends, kind of a thing. So that's where that was.
Something I really like about those bottom 3 is it's almost like a squid inverted, where you've got like the beak, but the tentacles are inside the beak. That's really cool looking.
Yeah.
Thanks. Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, instead of the beak being in the center of the tentacles, right?
Yeah.
That bobbit worm and these mandibles right here too. Totally. Love the bobbit worm. I'm selling the bobbit worm.
Yeah. Let's see. We'll move on to 6, I guess.
Okay.
And then 6A, or well, no, wait, where do I want to be? Where the heck am I? 6. We'll just at the top there of 6. If you can read that, so that one bit over to the left, I say inverted view of a lower jaw. That's something that I didn't pursue as much as I really wanted to. This is sort of hearkening back to the bobbit worm. When I would look at pictures of that, one of the things that I find especially intense about the bobbit worm is these incredibly taut tendons or musculature that's sort of at the base of or within the center of the mandibles. These structures, I'm not even sure what they are, but they're long and they're elegant and crisp lines, and they remind me almost of like the legs of a deer, where there's so much power in this slender, compact package, and you just sense it. You know that it's dangerous, or it's got some kick to it, and so that was what that was. And then I sort of was bouncing around. Let's see, 6A. I started considering the idea that little claw in the front actually flipped out like a snake's fang.
Okay.
To keep it sharp, and when it's doing other stuff, it has it flipped back. It's a weird design element of the original to have that little hook. I couldn't really come up with a good reason why the original Graboid had that, other than it just looked neat.
That's okay.
So
cool factor is good.
Yeah, so I was just trying to come up with some. So here also in 6A, you see over to the right, that's the first appearance of these little claws on the outside that would help pull it through the dirt.
Like a mole.
And like a mole, which you see over to the lower left, I've gone full sort of mole-like creature with his little rear legs flipped forward and his front legs the same as in that first image. The front legs now are pushed back. And then
Amazing iteration process, dude.
Yeah, I'm in awe of this. Every single one of these designs is its own.
Like I'm pretty sure like half, if not all of us in this room are just gonna be like drawing like so much after this, just because it's just
Oh yeah.
sheer volume, sheer iteration.
Oh, thank
Incredible,
you.
incredible.
Oh, it's cool. Well, I appreciate that.
I'm also in awe of how informed all of these designs seem to be by knowledge of the actual natural world. I'm amazed by this.
Well, William's a fan of creatures like this. Like he's quite a fan. So I imagine he's done a fair amount of research, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a what's his name? Oh Jesus, Sir David Attenborough is one of my heroes. Is Life on Earth and Earth and Life. All the different Attenborough series are my bread and butter. I love watching these shows over and over again.
David Attenborough.
And so I try to David Attenborough. So I try to internalize, as much as I can in terms of, the sort of the language of nature and the things that I find interesting and stuff. So
who is he again? Because I'm not familiar.
David Attenborough. He's the British voice behind every great nature show.
Oh, okay, got it.
That you ever saw.
Yeah, he's great. He's got that. He's like that soft, like. That soft voice. That soft
yeah.
He's great.
And he's been doing it since like the 50s or the 60s. I mean, he was doing this when he was a youngster. You can find these old black and white videos of him, up in the trees with chimpanzees and things like that. I mean, he's
a British institution.
As far as I'm concerned, he's a human institution. He is one of the, just like I say, my hero. I love him.
I didn't know he was that involved. I just thought he narrated. That's fantastic.
Jesus, no. Oh yeah, he's always. I mean, he's not. He doesn't have his hands in every single thing that he's talking about, but he's certainly got his attention is there, and he gets out into it. He gets out into the rainforest. He moves as much as he can.
And now we see the graboid in its natural habitat.
So, are we at page 7 yet?
We are.
Yeah. All right, page 7. So here, you see, I was sort of playing around with the idea that those little spines that everybody mentions, that those are actually hooked. So this is continuing the idea that it's actually a mammal. That those are hooked to its ribs, its rib cage, and those have like a cat has muscle between its vertebrae, which allows it to spin around this thing's got super strong muscles between these big wide ribs. You can see the bottom there, sort of the idea of the ribs connected with just an array of muscles and tendons and things, and that it doesn't just maybe expand, but actually is able to push them in a rhythmic fashion to help it move through. And also here you can see in that upper cutaway, the almost like a seal or something. It's mammalian. It's not actually a mammal, but it's related. So this is a creature. I'm pushing the idea that, like a whale. Whales used to be land-walking creatures that went back into the ocean, which is why they have to, keep coming up and breathing air, because they have lungs of a land walker. So here, the idea is this is something that used to be terrestrial that at some point started swimming through the earth, and so you have these rear legs that are flippers, almost like a seal, and. then some close-up shots of the front legs, that pokey V bit, the front claw coming out the side.
Yeah, that's cool, dude.
This is pure nerd goal.
Oh yes,
Thank you.
biology porn.
Yeah, it feels like you've designed a working animal here, which is amazing.
Like,
mean,
not once. Like,
Yeah, now what?
Dozens of times. Yeah, that's incredible.
Million. So, is there like a finished thing at the end of this? Or because I remember you said you wanted to do like a full illustration at the end.
No, there's not. No, there's just a few more pictures. It starts to peter out some of the ideas if we go to page 8. It's
This
is just
is amazing, though.
the bobbit worm thing again.
yep.
Getting real slender.
We're selling the bobbit worm today.
So
Google that
this to me is almost like more bobbit worm in some ways and less graboid.
Yeah, I can see
But
that.
I was just drawing.
Yeah, you're having fun.
I'm kicking myself for not coming up with that idea of giving it like a slender tape-like body now. That looks amazing.
Yeah.
Very elegant.
9.
Let's see. So 9 is yeah. I was really kind of getting a little exhausted, I suppose. But I started trying to explore a bit more angular version of the thing, and trying to think about how the vibrations that liquefy the surrounding earth are coming through the body and channeling through the head, and that's why the head is sort of shaped in this wedge-like thing, like that. Maybe that helped really liquefy it for a little ways, so it could just sort of push through. And
I see at the bottom here is a seismic field, like he's making the dirt vibrate out of his way so it could dive back in. That's great.
Yeah, and so it could literally like push, like, yeah, come flying, breach out of the ground, out of the earth, and right back in. It wouldn't want to stay on land, but it would come flying out of the land and go right back, by maybe grab a bite to eat,
You could probably
and be on its way back in.
It'd be
Yeah.
liquefy people.
Yeah, I
That'd
suppose
be
so.
scary shit.
Well,
this
it
goes
could
right
certainly
back to
stun
the
them.
title of the film. Like Tremors, the thing is actually creating tremors to be able to travel. It's great.
Yeah. Straggler.
Yes. So, oops. So, let's see here. The Straggler A is just what I kind of liked about Straggler A is the musculature that's sort of on the sides, that's visible there. I was sort of trying to see if I could go a little bit more worm-like, something a little different, and maybe hearkening back to some of that owl stuff. Straggler B is just a very similar sort of, just trying to see what might pop into my mind. Trying to come up with a different, a different personality for the head. Same thing with Straggler C. Gave it some little paddles. But didn't really think through how they might work.
What's going on with Straggler D?
Straggler D, just more of the same. These are sort of little. I had several more pages that just didn't work out as whole things. So I had maybe an image here, an image there on a page or two that I thought kind of, were kind of interesting, and I didn't want to just ditch them. Mm-hmm. But I can't give you any sort of complicated explanation for what's going on in any of these.
Yes, yeah, we're good. Ooh, oh wait, here's page 1. Wait, is that? We're back to page. We finally found page 1. That was page 1.
Okay.
So
Okay.
so this is the original iteration with the we just had some close-ups before, but yeah.
Right. Yeah. So here, yeah,
Well,
exactly.
well, great work, brother.
Thank you.
Yeah, really nice work. Very well thought out. Just about, I'd say, just about, not just about. I like every concept. Like
Mhm.
all of them,
Yeah.
all of them work.
It's alright. I would have preferred you went into its molecular structure because I think you didn't go deep enough.
It's like, is this carbon based or silicon based?
Right? Who does he
Well,
pray to, man?
as far as other directions that I wanted to go, so I liked the pursuing the sort of mammalian cousin like idea, but I also wanted to do one that was uh, reptilian ancestry, and I wanted to do one that was flat out worm, and I don't know, there were some other
So,
things in there.
so basically, what you're trying to say is, if you had like 2 more
If I had
days,
more time.
if you had like 2 more days, you would have to give us a book, the Tremors novel.
Maybe, yeah.
I was just about to say
Amazing,
that. Jesus.
amazing work over and over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is great,
Oh
bro.
my god!
You should consider doing like making little books and stuff, dude. I think the nerds would love it.
I'm working on one.
I would buy a booklet of these designs if you printed it.
Yeah.
Thanks. Well, yeah, I mean, I've been like this drawing with these Sharpies and alcohol markers on toned paper is this thing that I've been doing for a few years now. And so I am actually trying to finish up a book of about 100 pages that I came up with. And I just got to kind of polish it and come up with a cover. And then I'll be just self-publishing it on Blurb.
Oh,
So,
I'm sure you
Keep
got
an eye out.
no problem filling that motherfucker. That's cool.
No problem.
Can I say two things?
Sure.
First of all, we had this, thing that we need to make a redesign for the graduate. Okay,
Hmm.
all of us tried to come up with different ideas, outside the box thinking, a variety of concepts, and this guy just goes Discovery Channel on our asses. I mean, seriously, dude, it's beyond amazing. I love that you went traditional with this. I'm also obsessed with traditional art, but this thing and each drawing individually, and the writing next to the info writing is so precise and so well placed. This is actually like I said, a Discovery Channel book. And second thing, I'm just browsing the dark web to see how much a kidney is. How much do you want for these pages? Seriously, everything is amazing. I love
thank you so
everything
much.
about it, and I love how your lines are so. The way your lines are so clean. It's like you didn't do
Yeah.
any sketches before. It's just like went with the flow. And it's each. I would make a movie with each of these creatures.
Yeah.
I could just imagine Will's eyes rolling back into his skull as he's just pouring out pages
Yeah.
on pages. yeah,
Just channeling the
chameleon.
spirit of the Graboids.
yeah, just flowing out of you.
Next
I want
time,
to try and figure out how to replicate the aesthetic of these pages with like the brown sepia ink
Yeah.
digitally, because this looks so nice with like the thick lines and then like the cleaner black lines over the top to add in the little details. This is just lovely.
yeah, next
Thank
go,
you
bro.
so much.
If you're on again, you got to use your left hand. All right.
I
Quit fucking
haven't
around.
done that. I'll think about it.
Yeah, got to. But yeah, man, great work. Favorite part about your designs, or rather, maybe your favorite design. Which one was your favorite?
Oh gosh. Well, I don't know if I do have a favorite. I mean, I really enjoyed just the process of. I wasn't sure if this is going to be one of those one of these projects where I agreed to do it and then I had nothing. And so I was worried that I was going to show up with nothing. Um, and so when I was able to get a hold on, really thinking about putting myself into the little claw shoes of the graboids, and try to experience what things might be like for them. It was really nice to be there and be messing around, and that's why I'm saying, it's if I had more
What?
time, I'd keep going with this
One sec.
because
One sec. Well, someone's eating their microphone. Who's
okay.
doing it?
Not me.
Okay, it's
I
coming.
just really,
I'm more impressed so far. So
No, we're good. Sorry, Will. Go on.
So no, so it was just really fun to be producing and and riffing on the same concept.
So you
Uh,
enjoyed the iterations and and the being able to let go into the process, basically. So
yeah,
that's your favorite part.
usually when I do my own creatures, it's usually just each one of them is sort of a one-off, and I've wanted for a long time to to try to stick with one concept for a bit and explore it a little bit. And this is probably the first time that I really did that to any degree. So it's a
This
real
is your
fresh
first
experience.
time.
Well,
Check
like really trying to riff on the same creature idea. Yeah, I haven't really done this before, and I felt really kind of embarrassed about it, I guess.
Wait, I think you found some rabbit holes you could jump down in the future. Someone's still eating their mic. Who's eating their mic? Kanji, I think it might be you.
I think it
yeah.
might be. I'm just on my phone right now, following William on Instagram.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was a little bit breathy. So what's your least favorite part then?
My least favorite part is when, toward the end, I just started, like I say, petering out, and even though I knew I had more ideas, they weren't flowing, and I just felt like I think that maybe after intensely cranking these out for a bit, I just needed to leave it for a while, take a breather, and come back to it. So, um, I would figure on kind of diving in and coming up for a breath every now and then. So it's like the last stuff that I started feeling like I didn't know what I was doing.
I think I could only even remotely try to keep up with something like this if I was on some kind of stimulant. That's it. I don't know, bro. It's pretty wild. Well, great work, Brett. Great work.
Thank you.
Lots of iterations. Love it, dude. Fantastic work.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks, guys.
Amazing.
All right. Oh shit. Fuck. All right. So I'm last. It's me, right?
Yep.
All right.
It's
yep.
gonna be a hard act to follow.
Let's see if we can follow that.
I got 3 iterations. Sorry. So with my design, I like like I try to stay somewhat functional, a little bit fantastical. Um, I like the idea of like uh, I of the graboid having some other mode to move through the dirt. Like this is kind of like uh like like maybe some type of muscular frill they could like
I love
like
it.
like William has like to vibrate the dirt. Maybe they can shake it up like like a spider's legs, or pull it in and then move it close to his body, or if it's above land it can like use it almost as legs, and also kind of like a like spiral through the dirt at the same time. So like the this one kind of looked more like a like kind of dragony, like, so I kind of wasn't digging that. So I wanted to stick to the worm aesthetic. So I figured maybe his face kind of opens up like a flower, kind of like right here.
Mm.
Like it's like swirls, like it's like twisted into a swirl. Same kind of aesthetic with the frills, but on the tops and the sides of its body. So those are my initial designs with my graboid, and then I tried to figure out like the iterations of the like how
Oh wow.
how the mouth would
Yeah.
work. This was kind of close to. No, it's not close to original. I just figure like a head within, like something grabby, like almost like a turtle's mouth, maybe something inside. Uh, with whoa, no, stop it. Uh, with this one, I just kind of went wild, like he's got a little like spiky vagina mouth, maybe with some hooks to grab in, like to flail around and get lucky and grab stuff. Maybe he's not that, you know, whereas these are kind of like sensory, these these other tendrils, and this other one, like maybe he poons some stuff, like maybe he's got this hairy type, uh, like I don't know, like this, organic harpoon that's kind of, part of his body, like a tongue almost, like a barbed tongue that he shoots out, but out of his forehead, and then pulls it in and is able to, like, munch it down.
That'd be so cool.
And then, uh, and then my money shot, like I kind of took the colors from that last idea that I had, and like, or I took the colors from my first two initial ideas and kind of applied it to the last idea that I had with the flower mouth and the, you know, I don't know. And here, look, he's like a little baby graboid eating a person. That's fun, right? And that's
Nice.
and that's my story. That's what I did.
Nice.
Love it.
Yeah, these look
Yeah.
great.
That final illustration looks really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's almost like a photograph. Like
Yeah.
going back to that thing about film keyframes, that could just be a shot from a film.
Yeah. Straight up.
I'm trying to
Dang.
I'm trying to get there because I'd like to do some keyframe work. Like I like concept. I like I don't like I think this took me 2 days, like two 8-hour sessions maybe. I don't know if
Wow.
that's maybe a little shorter actually. Maybe like it took me like 10 hours or something. Maybe 10 hours.
You're really selling the animation of it, the movement of it. It's so dynamic.
Oh, thank you.
Mm.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very
so
cool.
uh my favorite part, uh you know, I don't know. My favorite part was probably just putting the whole idea into an illustration, creating a little story with there's like a gun on the ground, and this guy's like,
Mm.
eaten up, and like, yeah, it's fun. It's fun. And 3D is kind of a new process to me. I don't know much about 3D, so especially 3D, I sketch this up in an Oculus Medium. So uh,
Oh shit.
Oh wow.
learning that in learning to sculpt is probably my favorite part. Trying to figure it out, trying to make things, iterate things to where they're more like natural and real feeling within like an environment, as opposed to like jarringly 3D. I don't know if I'm getting there yet, but I'm trying.
You are.
Yeah, you did a good job with this one. It integrates really well.
Oh, thank you.
Looks great.
And
Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't. It, like you used a photograph for the environment, right?
some, yeah, like a couple
So
a couple photos with a little paint, like there was like some,
right.
yeah.
So it's yeah, it comes together really nicely. It doesn't look like it's something pasted onto some photos. It just feels integral.
That's great. Great.
Yeah.
I just got to keep that shit
So
going.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Like it's really good. Like it's I really like it. I really, and also like how does feel like it. I I knew it was 3D, but I couldn't really tell what was making me think it was 3D. Like it's it's really done well. Like, I don't have anything else to say. I really like
Oh, thank you very much.
those really are like little mini bobbits, aren't they? Coming out.
it.
Oh, these guys? Let me
The mouth, the little tendrily things coming out. Those.
Yeah, kind of. Like, how like on some insects, they're like when you get real close, they're kind of hairy, like, but far away. Like
Oh, so like the camel spiders.
I was thinking
Oh,
more
yeah.
of bristle worms.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Like they have
Right.
a fringe of bristle that runs down their body, and
Yeah, maybe that's what I was thinking of. Yeah, the bristleworms. Sure,
yeah.
those are like an Arctic worm, aren't they?
No, they're in
Aren't they?
reefs.
Oh,
They're in reefs.
uh,
They
I
might be
prefer to
Arctic as
think that
well.
they're Arctic.
There might be Arctic bristleworms as well. They get
The
around.
further away from where I'm at, the better.
Yeah,
Hmm.
they're I've had them in my reef tank before. So,
Mhm.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, they integrate real nically. It's cool.
but my least favorite part, I don't know, like maybe some more iterations, some more discovery of how the creature would work. But I kind of had this initial idea, and I was like, I kind of ran with it. So, yeah, that's my story.
Nice.
No, it looks great, James. It looks
You
great.
ran in the right direction.
Mm.
So, any any criticisms? Any other bits of
If I
You know,
was, if I was being,
normally. Oh, I'm sorry. Go on.
if I was being hypercritical, I'd say like right over on like the right hand side, like where it feels a little bit empty. I feel like if you put like a little car in the background there or a truck or something, it would just like
Some wreckage or something.
just like an abandoned car tied together with the guy being eaten, if that makes sense.
I was gonna put
Just
a truck. I was gonna put a truck, but I'm like, oh my god.
just a focal point.
Yeah, well, I was like kind of over it, like, and then I'm like, yeah, this is enough. But I mean, I'm pushing the concept. This
It
is
is enough. Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I'm being hypercritical with that, but like you asked if there were any
no.
kind of
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe
I would.
something else you could like instead of a car, maybe some like a bird that's been startled.
oh yeah.
Something I don't know.
That was another idea I had where I like maybe there's a couple birds up here, and this instead of these things kind of seeking like more or it doing like kind of a roar because its child is eating. Uh,
Or
there's
or
like birds it was confusing.
you have those plants that are off to the left. If you had one that was
Yeah.
closer to us but out of focus, off to
Oh,
to
like
the
right
right
here.
there,
Yeah,
just like close up. Yeah,
it'd be like up here.
Ah,
But then I risk like from an illustrator point of view, I risk losing his importance because it would like be
right.
almost the same
Well,
size.
yeah.
Like
I
so,
just literally just take like one of the trees you have on the left and just copy paste it on the right and change it a little bit. Um,
I
and also,
I did, and
sorry,
I painted it out.
okay.
You know what I like. It's hard. It's harder for me to find the things that I don't like. But the something that keeps jumping out at me that I really do like is traditionally it would be a bad thing to have lens flare. It's been so overdone. But
Mhm.
I dig that you have this one little blob of lens flare by the creature. It's
Thanks.
pleasant. I dig
Yeah,
it.
yeah, it's cool.
It sells it in an understated way. I like it.
Thank you.
It does make it look much more photographic. That's for sure.
it's
Yeah.
bold and brash.
Um, one funny thing, out of the, I guess the tongues or the feelers,
Mhm.
the one that's literally on the edge of the image.
Oh,
Uh,
this one.
yeah, I'd move it a little bit down because it's literally like it's right at the corner, like it's too
Or
close.
expand the frame a little.
Yeah, either expand the frame a little bit, even like to just make it more a little bit more cinematic, the frame, or just lower that guy just a little bit down because I feel like the head is so close to the edge that for whatever reason my eye is looking at that one a lot
Yeah.
more than everything else.
No, I see it. I'm also breaking like I got tons of tangents in here, but I didn't care. Like I like breaking those, at least trying to break those rules.
Oh no, for
Eh,
sure. I didn't even mind those. It's just that one because you have all this empty space and he's there kind of alone.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
I got you. I feel you for sure.
but other than that, it's like it's good, man. Like seriously, like I really love it.
Thanks,
it
man.
puts me a little bit in mind of monsters too.
Mhm.
Monsters 2?
Yeah.
I'm not familiar.
Oh, it's Did you ever see Monsters?
Nope.
Oh man,
It's a good one.
you should
Oh,
see
I know what you're talking about.
both Monsters and Monsters 2. Monsters is when it's down in the sort of border between Mexico and the U.S. And you learn that you're kind of in present day, except a number of years ago, some meteorites fell to the ground, and something kind of came out of there, and it's sort of a no man's zone now. And there's some people who need to try to pass through it. And really solid film. Monsters is really great, and Monsters 2 is a different director, and it's maybe a less great film, but it's got some really kick-ass creature effects in it, and I think you're going to enjoy both of these films. You
Okay.
gotta search these out, Monsters and Monsters 2. Oh, for sure.
I'll look it up.
Wasn't
for
the
sure.
wasn't the first Monsters Gareth Edwards' first film?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's the thing that got me so excited when I heard that he was directing Godzilla.
Yeah, my one criticism, apart from the fact that I didn't like the human story with that Godzilla film he did, was that it was a bit too dark for my liking.
Yeah, well, Godzilla is a whole other thing, but I was excited for that film specifically because Gareth did Monsters, and it was such an excellent sort of an indie film.
Yeah, and I think Rogue One is probably the best of the Disney Star Wars films, and that was him as well. A good director. I want to see what he does.
Yeah, I loved Rogue One.
Yeah.
Monsters 1 and Monsters 2 though. Those are the ones. Gotta check that shit out. Right?
Yeah, I think so. I think you'll respond to it very well.
All right. I'll give it a shot. Well, we're gonna wrap it up. Thanks for everybody for watching. Thanks for sharing your art. We again today, if you guys want to check out the other artists on the show, there's links below. We have Alexandru Popa, we have Kanjiman, we have Elias Rabanetti. Did I fuck it up?
Yes.
I did it right. Okay. Amir Alam, William Dehan, and of course myself, J.R. Coffrin in the art world. Yeah. You guys have anything that other side projects you're working on that you want to talk about before we close up shop? Nope. We're good. All right, cool. Well, thanks everybody for coming by. Thanks to all you artists that came on the show, and that's a wrap. Have a good one. We'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye, guys. Nice to be here. Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Well, check this out. Looks like I've found the ass end of this episode. Well, we hope you enjoyed it. And we'll see you next time, only on Monstieur.